7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. Stand by.
How about that?
We are live, I think. That's what they tell us. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. Special Hump Day edition of the RP Show. That's right, it's Wednesday, in case you hadn't heard. And what that means is it's just you and me, the audience and me, and all of our one. So get your questions and comments ready. That's right, I'm wearing a Blue Jays top today. The guest appears in hour two. It's Kevin Karius from Sports 1440 Edmonton. He is my oldest friend in the industry. How about that? As the Oilers suffered a tough one last night. And as a matter of fact, that's where we are going to open here in a second. I'll just give you a little bit of a roadmap of the Quick Six show topics that we do every day here on the Game Plus television network. Very exciting. As we've learned this week, confirmed this week, it's now all of Canada and 33 U.S. states, which we'll talk about a little later. But we got Major League Baseball to get to today, a tad NBA, NFL. There is breaking news in the CFL, which we'll get to in our sports update later on. But we're going to open the Quick Six show topics with the National Hockey League for a variety of reasons. One thing I've learned this week, all in sundry, is that the NHL people are watching. So if you are NHL people or NHL fans, welcome. Make yourselves comfortable. The text line is open for business, 902-518-3033. So get it rolling. Get your comments and questions in, because, again, it's just you and me for the whole first hour. I will warn you that in this opening segment of the warm-up, it goes by real fast. So I won't get to your comments here in the opening segment, but I will right after the first break. We're also streaming live on YouTube, so you're more than welcome to get it going in the comments section there. Okay, number one. Again, Cole Caulfield scored with 15 seconds to go in the third period to lift the Montreal Canadiens to a 4-3 victory over the Minnesota Wild last night. I'm very excited and proud to tell you that was one of the 5 correct picks I made last night in our NHL Breakaway Bets segment that we do every day. 5 of 8 I was last night. Didn't have this one. Tim Stützle's 22nd goal of the season snapped a 1-all draw and lifted the visiting Ottawa Senators to a 4-1 NHL victory over the Columbus Blue Jackets. You're going to be hearing from the Tampa Bay Lightning throughout the program today. Brandon Hagel scored 2 goals to reach 25 for the season and surpassed Nikita Kucherov for the team lead as the Tampa Bay Lightning continued their surge with a 4-1 win over the San Jose Sharks. And actually, maybe that's where I'll drop anchor for a second. The top 5, bottom 5 is coming up. If not this hour, then maybe next hour. I have no idea why people care so much about it, but they love it. It's my weekly rankings of the top 5 teams in the NHL and the bottom 5 teams in the NHL. Now, I haven't checked NHL.com lately, but they used to only do in their power rankings the top 16 teams, the playoff teams. And I get it. We're in a kinder, softer, gentler time. They don't like to put the spotlight on the crappy bottom, but I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Tampa Bay is not going to be in the bottom 5, but they're going to be in the top 5. The question is where. And there was the Detroit fan, Jeremy, who wrote in, Jeremy from Winnipeg. He's a Red Wings fan who lives in Winnipeg, and he goes, when are the Red Wings going to crack your top 5? Well, stay tuned. They are embroiled in the game of the night tonight, the Detroit Red Wings at Toronto, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Mark Scheifele had 2 goals and an assist to lead Winnipeg to a 3-1 victory over St. Louis. One of those goals was an empty netter. I want to ask here in the opening segment, where are the Jets fans? And I say that not sarcastically. I want to hear from you. 902-518-3033 or the YouTube chat. We got Winnipeg is our number 2 region for viewership. I don't know why they like me. They shouldn't, but they do. And I want to know how you feel about the pundits who wrote the Jets off. And I'm not going to name any names. Nope, won't do it. But I will say some of the pundits in the press box at the Winter Classic were saying it's over, the Jets' window's closed, they're done. And some of our guys on NHL radio were declaring them over like 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, here come the Jets. Just a few points out of the playoffs. And as Jared Dumba was with us yesterday from the famous hockey-playing Dumba family, he goes, if there's one team out of a playoff spot that has the chance over the second half to turn their season around and do something, it is the Winnipeg Jets. So listen, if you mindful of the fact nobody has won anything here, And I will be also mindful of the fact I didn't count you out. I was just quoting people. Let's make that clear. I want to hear from you. And then I also want to hear from Oilers fans. Rookie Arseny Gratzuk and Cody Glass each had a goal and an assist in New Jersey, held on to beat the Edmonton Oilers 2-1 last night at Rogers Place. And isn't it funny? They'll bristle on this in Edmonton, but Edmonton is like, hockey-wise, Toronto West in a way. Now, hang on, before you jump through the television and start throwing your shoes at me. Just this. Up and down, up and down. You know, as a culture, Calgary's more Toronto West. But as far as the hockey teams go, Edmonton, Toronto. Because of the furor around the hockey team. Win a couple in a row, you go into the Stanley Cup, lose a couple in a row, fire everybody. So I wouldn't mind hearing from the Oilers fans. I see Tristan Jarry was in goal last night, and I want to get to the bottom of the Edmonton goaltender situation, and Kevin Karius is right on the scene. Kevin Karius joining us from Edmonton Sports Radio 1440. Oh, the audience has showed up. See, it's flying by so dang fast. I'll break with my own tradition and tell you, I'm going to read a couple comments here. Jeremy writes in, he says, you better give me the Red Wings top 5 there, Roddy. It's coming up here in hour 1. We got football to get to, too. There's a lot of football fans have showed up. Kevin the Medium says, good morning, peeps, from beautiful Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. Hello, Kev. Kevin the Medium. I knew that you were going to be showing up today. I just had this sense. BW in Edmonton writes in, he says, well, actually, where are you, BW? He's a trucker, long-haul trucker. I don't know where the hell he is, but he's writing from his cab of his truck. He says, Oilers power play last night looked like a herd of lemmings bouncing off each other instead of the devil. See what I'm saying? Win a couple in a row. It's plan the parade. That's also a Winnipeg thing, but I feel Edmonton's really weaseled their way in there. Yeah, I could get... How do you keep a monkey in suspense? I'll tell you right after the break. I should just mention that I'm still on a high from my chat with Drew Remenda the other night, the San Jose Sharks color commentator. Oh, yeah, watch your show all the time in San Jose. What? Don't troll me. And he's like, no, you're on Game Plus Network, right? We got it in San Jose. California is now the 33rd state carried by the Game Plus television network, or where we air. Because I just learned from Dennis Bernstein from Los Angeles, the Kings writer for fourthperiod.com. They watch it all the time out there, too. So, hello, NHL people. Hello, California. Make yourself comfortable. We got a lot to get to, and it's going fast already. We'll be right back. You are watching across Canada, now 33 U.S. states on Game Plus TV and WQVZ Radio.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And again, consider yourself warned. The opening hour goes by real fast when it's just me and you. Hello. What happened? There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, producer Corey, but we're good. We're good to go. Like I said, the opening hour goes by very fast when it's just me and you. So get your questions and comments in. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. Listen, I will dip into the comments, as I mentioned, because it's just you and me. I asked BW from Edmonton. He's a long-haul trucker where he is today. He says, the foothills along Highway 16 between Hinton and Edson. I can't let that get by without telling you the Hinton story and why this gives me the willies every time. When I was with the Prince Albert Raiders, I was 21 years of age, maybe 20, the voice of the team. Our assistant coach, Rod Dahlman, former New York Islander, bought a red Jeep Cherokee in Prince George. It was the last game of our West Coast road trip. And he decides he's going to drive it home from Prince George to Prince Albert. And he asked me to go with him. And so the team goes on the bus. Just the two of us are driving from Prince George to Prince Albert. And he runs out of gas because he's trying to clock the gas mileage on this thing, on the highway. This was a long time ago when you used to have to do it this way. We ran out of gas just outside Hinton, Alberta. And I'm out pushing this thing down the highway. What highway is that anyways? Is that the Yellowhead? I'm 20 years, and I look, he's banging on the steering wheel, laughing. I'm like, why am I pushing? It's your vehicle. Just outside Hinton, Alberta. Somebody came along, we got a jerry can of gas and got going. Oh my God, I just get the shakes, the willies every time I hear Hinton, Alberta. Anyways, Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon brings you our picks weekly of the National Football League. Get down there on Sunday for the NFL doubleheader, the conference championships, which is where we're going next. Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Again, we'll get to the top five, bottom five, but I knew the Jets fans would answer the bell. Wilf writes in, he's watching on Game Plus TV in Steinbach, Manitoba. And he says, hi, Rod, the Jets may not make the playoffs, but they will take a run at it, giving fans hope. Well, they already are. They're giving you hope So if you don't want to rub it in the face of the pundits for declaring the Jets season over, I get it. I get it. Oh, John Ohm's watching in Winnipeg. He says, hey, Rod, interesting jersey behind you. Yeah, it's the number one ticket-selling marketplace for Florida Panthers fans. iTix Now. They're a sponsor of our Cats and Bolts podcast, which will be going live later on today, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, streaming the Cats and Bolts podcast. I thought I would give iTix Now, Peter, some love. He came. That show's going off now, the Cats and Bolts podcast, so you might want to tune in later on today, but that's what it is. Florida-based online ticket resale company. Now you know. Okay, point 2 was to be the NHL top 5, bottom 5, but we're going to get to that later. Point 3, for the first time in 14 seasons and 11th time since 1970, 4 new teams are in the conference championships compared to the previous season in the NFL. On Sunday, New England will travel to Denver for the AFC Championship, 3 p.m. Eastern on CBS, and the Los Angeles Rams will visit Seattle in the NFC Championship game, 6:30 p.m. on Fox. Tom Brady on the call. So I got this email from the NFL. I'm going to tell you right now, you've known all along how much I love the CFL game notes. It's no different with the NFL, or for that matter, the NHL. It's like just put it in my veins. Denver's Sean Payton, who led New Orleans to the Super Bowl 46 title following the 2009 season, can become the 8th coach ever to lead multiple franchises to a Super Bowl appearance, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers Bill Parcells, Don Shula, Dick Vermeil, John Fox, Mike Holmgren, Dan Reeves, and Andy Reid. That's just to get to the Super Bowl with 2 different teams, let alone win it. It's a much smaller group. But I'll tell you something about Don Shula. Living here in South Florida, the name Don Shula, probably the most, not probably, he is the most respected man in sports in South Florida, Don Shula. You start getting into that territory, you've done something. Now, having said all that, Denver Broncos quarterback Jarrett Stidham, who has started 4 career games, will become the first quarterback ever to start a conference championship game with fewer than 5 career starts. That doesn't surprise me. He's making history here. And this morning on ESPN, across the bottom of the ticker, it says, I wrote it down, chances of Jarrett Stidham taking Denver to the Super Bowl? Chances? I'm hoping he just doesn't get hurt. Meanwhile, in the NFC Conference Championship, the Rams are 7-9 all-time in conference championship games, but have won 4 consecutive, dating back to 1999. And the NFC West rivals split their regular season meetings this season, with each team winning at home. So that should mean the Seahawks will win, right? Because the game's in Seattle. It's only Wednesday. We got a couple of days to lead up to the game. Kevin, the medium, will be with us tomorrow talking a lot of NFL. I prepped him for that. And then, of course, Jim Barker on Friday. The point spreads, which I'm not going to get into here because we have a lot to get to, but they are these. New England favored by 4.5 at Denver. I didn't even put in my game notes what Mike Vrabel's doing. You all know he's making history. He's going to win NFL Coach of the Year. But he's on his way to making history. Wouldn't it be something? And they're favored by 4.5. Them going into Denver facing a Bo Nix-less Broncos team reminds me a whole hell of a lot of the 2007 Grey Cup when we were watching the East Final in the press box at BC Place, Vancouver, and saw Kevin Glenn broke his arm for Winnipeg in the East Final, and I pumped my fist in the air because I knew we'd won. With all due respect and apologies to Ryan Dinwiddie, we knew without Kevin Glenn we were going to win the game. And that this Patriots-Broncos thing has that feel for me. Okay, hang on. Yeah. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, interesting storylines for everyone. Oh, yeah, and that's why I love the game notes. Just, like I say, put it in my veins. I'll get to the quirky historical facts in a second. Thank you, BW from Hinton, for pointing that out. This is point 3B of the Quick Six show topics. The Green Bay Packers and Buffalo Bills face similar decisions after another promising season ended short of the Super Bowl. See, there's 4 still alive, 28 planning for the future. The Packers opted to give Coach Matt LaFleur a contract extension in the hopes that he can still get the team over the hump, while the Bills fired Coach Sean McDermott following an unprecedented 6th straight season that featured a playoff win and no Super Bowl appearance. If you're following all of this, because I'm not going to spend much time on what's going on in Buffalo, even though I know that they are Toronto's NFL team and we're on Game Plus TV anchored out of Toronto. But the owner, and to a certain extent the general manager, why am I laughing? They have thrown Sean McDermott under the bus. They didn't just fire him on Monday, but now they're saying that the recent draft choices of the team were on the coach, not on the general manager. And as I saw the fans saying on social media this morning, they didn't just throw Sean McDermott under the bus. They backed up the bus, went over him a couple more times. When are we going to realize that's just the way that it is? It sucks. Which, if we do have time, I've got a full page of notes here, by the way, to get through, a full page. But we can talk about Baker Mayfield taking a swat at Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns for the way he was treated, Baker, on his way out of Cleveland. Treated like a piece of garbage, I believe was the term Baker used. One of my favorite NFL quarterbacks. So again, it's just it doesn't feel good to get fired. Trust me, I know. Cut. That's happened too. But then to have them trounce you on your way out of town, that doesn't feel any better. And that's what's happening to Sean McDermott, but it happens with pretty much everybody because they can. Anyways, continuing on with that coach's story, LaFleur and McDermott were 2 of the 4 coaches in the league with at least 7 seasons at their current spots and no Super Bowl wins. Kyle Shanahan in San Fran and Zach Taylor in Cincinnati are 2 of the others. Andy Reid is the longest tenured coach in the NFL right now, having won 3 Super Bowl titles in 13 seasons in Kansas City. Those other guys have been in the place the longest without winning. Kyle Shanahan and Zach Taylor. So anyways, it brings up our poll question today. I mean, if you're enjoying the coaching carousel situation, which is it's entertaining. There's no 2 ways about it. What are the vacant head coaching spots available? They are Arizona, Buffalo, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. And don't let the fact that the owner is throwing Sean McDermott under the bus in Buffalo dissuade you from thinking that would be an attractive possibility, because that happens everywhere. But we narrowed it really down to 3. What are for our poll question today for EMJ Marketing, what are the least desirable? What is the least desirable coaching vacancy in the National Football League right now? Because last week we said what is the most desirable. Atlanta won the poll. Turns out it's the New York Giants, because that's where John Harbaugh went. He got the money and the keys to the castle. He got the Chris Jones deal with the Giants. But what's the least desirable? So we came down with Atlanta. We came down with, because Atlanta's filled, Kevin Stefanski. The least desirable, Las Vegas. Sorry, Vegas. Well, we're not on in Vegas today, or right now. We will be next hour. The Las Vegas Raiders, the Arizona Cardinals, or the Cleveland Browns, or other. Maybe it's one of the other ones that I mentioned. And the people running away with it, by the way, running away with the poll, is the Cleveland Browns is the least desirable coaching job. And you're going to have to tell me why you think that is for those that voted for them. Tony, the Browns fan, rose in and says, yes, I voted Cleveland. Is that because the city isn't aesthetically pleasing? I mean, I've never been there. How many really have? Like, if you're planning a vacation, you're probably going to Vegas. You're probably going to New York. Probably going to Arizona. I don't think you're going to Cleveland. But this is to coach the team, not be a tourist. So, frankly, I voted for Arizona because in Las Vegas, while it's clearly a team, that's the worst team in the NFL, you do have the number 1 overall pick, and you're going to take Fernando Mendoza, who is the belle of the ball right now in football after what he did in the Natty on Monday night. You got a chance in Las Vegas. Plus, it's Vegas. So I'm not voting for them as the least desirable. And I'm not voting for Cleveland other than bad ownership, which I'm sorry to the Haslam family, but it's true. Yeah, You would think it's Cleveland, but I think they got something there in Shedeur. I really do. Arizona, they got nothing. They have nothing other than I really love Phoenix. But I voted for Arizona as the least desirable coaching vacancy. And as I saw yesterday on social media from the Arizona media, nobody even wants the job. So anyways, those are a few things that we're talking about today. What's the least desirable coaching vacancy left in the NFL? The picks will get to top 5, bottom 5 in the NHL. I know that they're going to surprise you. They surprised me. My picks surprised me as I was putting them together. So we'll get to that before hour 1 is out. 902-518-3033. Do Winnipeg Jets fans want to rub it in the face of the pundits who declared the season over for the Jets? If so, I'm here for it. I'd love to hear from you. Tony in Cochrane says, by the way, it's because of bad management, GM Andrew Barry and Shedeur Sanders being the only quarterback in the stall. Lots of comments coming in. That's what we want. So hang on. We'll get to those and more when we come back. You're watching the RP Show now across 33 U.S. states, including California, and all of Canada on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ video.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Isn't this fun? I told you it would be a lot of fun. I prepped you. Don't say you weren't warned. Wednesdays are always hour one, just me and you, the viewers. And I'm smiling because I got some good comments to get to here. It is the new breed of broadcasting. I mean, if you don't evolve, you die. This kind of reminds me of, I told you my friend Chris from the Bronx here in South Florida watches the show. And when we get into those Canadian topics, he's like, I don't really know what you're talking about, but it's just so entertaining. You're like the Rush Limbaugh of sports. And I'm like, wow, how about Larry King? I used to love watching that guy. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about when I was a kid. But with the suspenders, you know, on CNN, and Linda in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, hello. Or Ed in East Lansing, Michigan, hello. And then just sit and listen to them go back. It's just so much fun. Here it's text messages, it's YouTube chats, same idea. Just, I'm not doing open phones like ever. I got PTSD from that. Leanne on line 5. Kirk writes in from Toronto. He's watching on Game Plus TV, 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line, regarding my story of my friend Rod Dahlman. You know who he is, Joe Lazito. New York Islanders great. There's your daily Joe Lazito mention. Rod Dahlman buys a Jeep Cherokee in Prince George, BC at the end of the Raiders road trip and asked me to drive back to PA with him. I was 20, 21. I was too nice to say no. I didn't want to go. Then he runs out of gas at Hinton and makes me push. And had the nerve to laugh about it. Anyways, Kirk says, can you imagine if your friend had a dead EV, electric vehicle? Not pushing that. I could see that happening, though. I don't see the point of electric vehicles, but I'm from Western Canada where they just don't work. Dolly would never have an electric vehicle. And by the way, Kirk says, with regards to the Buffalo Bills owner throwing Sean McDermott under the bus, Kirk in Toronto says, at least in Dallas, when things go south, the owner gets to blame because he's the GM. That's not even a silver lining thing. That's just, no, please don't bring up the Cowboys. I was having a great day. Wayne in Victoria writes in, Western Dodge text line. He says, it's crazy that there are 10 open coaching jobs in the NFL. I think that the Cleveland Browns are the worst, mostly because they've lost for years. Well, and Jeff, the Stampeders fan, right, he agrees with me on Arizona. He says the Bidwell family in Arizona has shown no desire to win. No. I think they want to win. I just think they don't have any idea how. There is a difference. Ryan in upstate New York writes in, and for the record, why we're talking about it is the poll question today is, what's the least desirable head coaching job left in the NFL? There are 6. We narrowed them down to Arizona, Las Vegas, Cleveland, or other. And they're kind of going back and forth between Cleveland and Arizona. Hey, Vegas, at least you're not the worst place to coach. From RP viewers, anyways, RP show viewers. Ryan in upstate New York says, I voted Arizona. Their defense is all right, but what do you do with Kyler Murray? Plus, they don't exactly have a winning tradition. That's the thing, man. I've never quite figured that out. You all know that my good friend Gary was the owner of the Coyotes for some time, and he flew me down there to meet with their people. And the one thing that they said, well, I can say it now. What the hell? It don't matter. They're all gone. There's not even a hockey team there anymore. I met with them, and he goes, can you give them a hand with community relations and media relations and public relations? And I said, yeah, sure, all these things. I've done them all. Nothing was ever going to work for those people with the Arizona Coyotes at that time. And by the way, Gary didn't hire them. They inherited them all from when the NHL owned them. They're like, we're battling the Cardinals. We're battling the Suns. We're battling the Diamondbacks. And you don't understand, but we're battling NASCAR. And I'm like, well, why have a damn team then? I don't hear them bitching in Dallas. I don't hear them bitching in Tampa Bay. I don't hear them bitching in Anaheim like you guys. Oh, there's 700,000 Canadians that live here. Why don't they come to our games? Because you suck. And two, if they loved hockey that much, they'd still be in Canada. Getting PTSD from this. Anyways, flew home. Gary calls. He goes, how'd it go? I said, you got to fire them all. Regarding hour one, me going solo, which I feel is going swimmingly. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, this format is a lot better than calling in. Oh, I think so. We just happened to find a way to do it. Well, for some reason, people seem to like it. I don't know why anybody would watch me. Arlen Bruce writes in, hey, AB, NFL, CFL alum. Great morning, RP. Who are the top 3 NHL teams in Canada? Is it 1 Oilers, 2 Jets, 3 Toronto? I'm paying attention to the end. I truly enjoy the game. Well, you already answered your own question. And I guess since people want, I'm not going to do it here, but I will do it after the break. By popular demand, RP's top 5, bottom 5 in the National Hockey League. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to grab you by the shoulder. Then there will be some arguments over these. Regarding the least attractive coaching vacancy in the National Football League, Jeremy writes in, he says, I voted Vegas. Yeah, Tom Brady's there. They can draft Mendoza, but they need real work there. They haven't won in a long time. Mark Davis fires coaches every year. Dumpster fire. Well, when I was looking for things to talk about with you people, which I have not been looking for them, we've all been doing fine here. We've had enough to talk about. But these are some of the topics this morning on ESPN. One was, what are the chances of Jared Stidham taking Denver to the Super Bowl? They're about as good as me earning a paycheck as a male stripper. That's the chances. Another one, is Fernando Mendoza a fit with the Raiders? Or more so, are the Raiders a fit with Mendoza? I can't remember how they worded it. They're not a fit with anybody. That's the problem. But why I think Vegas is somewhat attractive, you do have some pieces there. Bowers, Crosby, Genty in the backfield. You get a quarterback, I think you have a chance. But that's the one thing that people don't understand about dysfunctional, toxic organizations, which I'm sorry, I do believe the Las Vegas Raiders are. Just look at it. Look at it. It's not about what goes on the field, or what goes on off the field. Jeremy says Vegas is still paying like 5 coaches still. Chip Kelly, Antonio Pierce, Pete Carroll. That's 3 for sure. Maybe there are more. 902-518-3033. While we have time in this segment, I'll continue on. There we go. 2 minutes. Thank you. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw does the Junior Hockey Report every day, sponsors it here on the RP Show. All I got to say for you is the Warriors are home Thursday and Friday night. They got home games in the Rempel Temple. Stop in ahead of the games or after, if that's your thing, at the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Tell the Mad Greek, Johnny Atreides, that you saw us talking about him on the show. That would help us out a lot. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. Order pizza for the NFL games on Sunday. That's a pretty good idea, too. So we got hung up on the third piece. Point 4, Bo Bichette and the New York Mets finalized. They made it official. Their $126 million 3-year contract last night. Bichette is being introduced today by the team at Citi Field. A 2-time All-Star shortstop of the Blue Jays, Bichette will move to third base with the Mets, who have Francesco Lindor at shortstop. Bichette has never played a pro game at the hot corner. We haven't had time here to get to the NBA, but living here in South Florida, there are a ton of Mets fans, and I kind of feel sorry for them. You want to talk about trying to buy a championship. I mean, at least it's not like the Arizona Cardinals and these other teams that, as Jeff the Stamps fan says, they don't want to win. They want to win. They just don't know how. The Mets are trying to buy a championship. They're in the top 5 every year of spending, and they're never in the World Series, let alone winning it. Like, you got to admire the owner's desire to win with the Mets. They just can't seem to put it all together. But maybe Bo Bichette is the missing piece. Okay, top 5, bottom 5 coming up. More football talk, the CFL news that I mentioned. Kevin Karius in hour 2 from Sports 1440 Edmonton Radio. We're live on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hour 1 of the RP show on Game Plus TV is brought to you by Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. Just a lovely back and forth with the audience today, which is what I was hoping for. So I thank you people for answering the bell today. Kevin Karius coming up in hour 2 to talk Oilers, hockey, NHL, and NFL playoffs. and coaching carousel. And just ahead of the sports update and our top 5 NHL, which is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. The NFL coaching carousel is fascinating. The NHL is not far behind that. Darren writes in from Melfort. He says, if the money is flowing and it's warm, a coach will coach anywhere. Coaches don't worry about getting fired when there is a job around every corner these days. I think you're right. I mean, I have a tough time understanding that mentality, but I think you're right. Jim Barker said that just a couple of weeks ago on this show. I asked him about that. And the money is real good now in most spots, but I couldn't live that way. I was 23 years at my last job before this one, 7 years going on 8 here. I can't even remember anymore. That's just not moving around. I couldn't do it. But it is a different time, and feeding a family of 5, I just couldn't do it. And then, going back to Moose Jaw to do the baseball broadcasting in the Western Canadian Baseball League. This will be year 3. I mean, I could jump around. I just don't want to. I'm just not that kind of guy. But I also am not like the coaches. I'm not wired that way. I do mental health and addiction recovery coaching. That's totally different. Totally different. I almost feel bad calling myself a coach in that. But that's what the certification says. But for instance, I don't think like them, but I get them. The other night after the San Jose, Florida game here, which the Sharks won 4-1, everybody wanted to talk with Paul Maurice after about the goalie fight with Sergei Bobrovsky. Paul was steaming. They just lost. I was talking to a hockey buddy the next morning. I said, I don't care whether it's Junior A or the National Hockey League. You lose. The coaches are pissed. Paul Maurice was not really in the mood to marvel at Bob skating the length of the ice to get in a fight. Really at all. But he entertained it because he's a good guy. But he's just, I'm like, yeah. I get it. I mean, grumpy hockey coaches, grumpy old broadcasters. That's been my life. So they don't intimidate me. Sports update. This is the CFL news I had for you. University of Miami defensive lineman Akeem Messador holds top spot in the winter edition of the Canadian Football League Scouting Bureau, which ranks the top 20 prospects who are eligible for selection in the 2026 CFL draft on April 28th. 2 players in the rankings began their careers in U Sports. Devin Cromwell, ranked number 14, played 3 seasons at the University of Guelph before transferring to Texas Tech and then Michigan State, while Giordano Vaccaro, ranked number 19, spent 3 years at the University of Manitoba before continuing his career at Purdue. Tonight's games in the National Hockey League, the Toronto Maple Leafs look to get back on track when they host the Detroit Red Wings. Toronto has lost 3 of their last 4, but remain a point back of the final wildcard spot in the East. Elsewhere, the Calgary Flames host Pittsburgh, and the Vancouver Canucks, welcome Washington. Game of the night's Detroit at Toronto, but you can vote on that poll on our Instagram feed at the Rod Pedersen Show. And the Toronto Raptors are back in action tonight as they continue their West Coast trip with a matchup against the Kings in Sacramento. The 26-19 Raps snapped a 2-game skid with an 18-point win in Golden State Tuesday, backed by Emmanuel Quickley's 40-point effort. The sports update, as well as our NHL Top 5, Bottom 5, are brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Collectors, listen up. Hockey cards, autographs, and fan memorabilia, all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't wait. Shop ultimatefanzone.ca. And while I'm getting to this, I will remind you that the text line is open for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. Experience the Western Dodge difference, local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Bob writes in, good morning, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat. Back watching your show. Missed you the last couple of days. Always truly enjoy your show. Have a great day, Rod. Bob, I want to meet you. We got to make that happen next summer. Again, not too many people take the time to write a positive message these days. So thank you, Bob in Medicine Hat. I really do appreciate you for tuning in every day. One thing that's for sure, I'll be here every day. People go in and out, but I'm here. like the furniture. Okay. NHL top 5, bottom 5. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Read them and weep. Top 5 teams in the National Hockey League. Number 1, the Tampa Bay Lightning. As we learned yesterday, great goalie, excellent players, arguably the best coach in the game, and experience. What's not to love? Tampa Bay, number 1. Number 2, the Colorado Avalanche. In the standings, they're number 1, but they lost in Tampa Bay. And in a playoff series right now, I believe the Lightning would win. 1, Tampa, 2, Colorado, 3, Carolina. They are number 3 overall. They're the hottest team by virtue of 3 wins in a row. The number 4 team, the Vegas Golden Knights. They just are. And they added with Rasmus Anderson. They just saw a 7-game win streak get snapped. Vegas will always be there in the end. And the number 5 team, it's the Dallas Stars. It's the Dallas Stars, but they need something. They're missing something. But they're the number 5 team in the NHL as of this week. Sorry, Detroit. Bottom 5 teams in the National Hockey League. Going from 5 to 1. The 28th team, the Calgary Flames. Obviously, it's over, but they're making the right moves. Better days are ahead. The 29th team, the Chicago Blackhawks. People expected more this year. I didn't. The 30th team in the NHL, the New York Rangers. Look up grease fire in the dictionary. You'll see the Rangers. 31st team in the National Hockey League is the St. Louis Blues. They're done. They've waved the white flag. And the 32nd team, the very worst team in the NHL. You know who it is. It's the Vancouver Canucks. Minus 51. I didn't know it got to minus 51 in Vancouver. It did. That's the goal differential. NHL worst. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Read them and weep. I'd love to know your comments. They're brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Top 5, bottom 5. John Ohm. You'll notice the Jets aren't in the bottom 5. You're welcome, John. He says Arizona hockey sucks. Bitter since 1996. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, John. You never asked. But glass half full, half empty. You got a team back now and a pretty damn good one. But I get it. I also get it. That's some wounds never close. Brent's watching in the Bridge City. He says Arizona Cardinals are a dumpster fire. Coach, GM, both out. Is there a future with Kyler Murray as quarterback? I would say probably not. He seems like a really nice kid. But as John Frenzy says, nice guys run the Kinsman Club. You know who's not a nice guy? And I opened my Twitter in the break, and I see who's getting ripped now. Carson Beck, the coach of the quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes. I guess he didn't shake Fernando Mendoza's hand after the game the other night. And he says his job isn't to shake hands. Maybe he's a bit of a jerk, Carson Beck. I don't know. But he's sliding in the draft. Maybe Arizona. Maybe you should take Carson Beck. Nice guys run the Kinsman Club, says John Frenzy. Jeremy writes in, he says, damn, and the Wings beat the Hurricanes not that long ago. Listen, I'm like the old school coaches in a lot of ways. It takes a lot to impress me. Just because Detroit, and I love Todd McClellan. Oh, my God. I saw his dad at Ricky's All-Day Grill last time I was in Regina. Bill, lovely man. But just because Detroit's finally got hot, and I'm happy for all of them, Steve Yzerman, Patrick Kane, you name it. A hot half a season ain't going to get you in my top 5. Nope. And he says the Red Wings are 4 points better than the Golden Knights. Oh, well. Again, my rankings doesn't go by the standings. Frankly, when I'm trying to decide between teams, I think if they were to play a series now, a best of 7, who would win it? It's one thing I'm realizing. It's why we spent as much time today on the coaching carousel in the NFL. Power rankings, it's what fans love to talk about. The carousel does mean something the power rankings do not. And I want to clarify something before we break in hour 1 for hour 2. when Jared Dumba was on yesterday, I said, which coaches should be worried? And he took it to mean that they're going to be fired. And I didn't mean that. I just meant how many coaches should be worried that they're going to miss the playoffs. Because I think they're starting to get concerned. Like Paul Maurice the other night, I'll say it again. He said, we're not, I can't remember what the phrase was. I have not gone back to look at it yet. But he said something along the lines of, we're in trouble here, or we're in danger here. And they're still only 4 points out of a playoff spot, but they're starting to get concerned. Colt writes in, says, did you already talk about Mike McDaniel going to the Chargers as new offensive coordinator? No, I did not, but you just did, so consider it talked about. Tony and Cochran says, Mike McDaniel tells the Browns he's no longer interested in their head coaching job. Well, yeah, there you go. He's gone to the Chargers. He'd rather be the offensive coordinator in L.A. than the head coach in Cleveland. I don't blame him. Work with Justin Herbert and live in L.A. versus be the head man in Cleveland, and nobody's worked out there ever. Okay, coming up next hour, more of whatever this is. And Kevin Karius joins us from Sports 1440 Edmonton right after this break.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
And away we go. It's the RP Show on a Wednesday. Saying hello to the viewers across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Thanks for joining us, making us part of your day. And hello again to the viewers across Canada and 33 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network. That's right, we've gained a state. I've learned it over the last couple of weeks, confirmed a Monday night here when the San Jose Sharks came through town. And their wonderful color commentator, Drew Raminda, saying he enjoys the program on Game Plus TV out there in San Jose. Yeah, that's a fact. So, yeah, a lot of people tuned in. Hope you're enjoying the program today. Hope you will enjoy it. We'll be talking NHL, NFL in the next segment with our guest, Kevin Karius from Sports 1440 Edmonton. He is my longest-serving friend in the industry of broadcasting. We met on the second day of broadcasting school. It's a story that I won't go into here, and I'll spare you going into when he joins us coming up an hour or two from Edmonton, the city of champions, from Sports 1440 Edmonton Radio. By the way, 902-518-3033 is the text line for anything that grabs you. I'm going to change things up a little bit as we roll into the quick six show topics here. Yeah, the NHL is exciting. There are 6 games tonight, which I'll get to in a second. One thing I've learned, that's what I'm getting clear on here, is that the NHL people that are watching, they're telling me when they come through Sunrise, and they seem to be enjoying what we're talking about. So thanks, guys and gals. Get comfortable. We'll get to you in a second. I'm going to open this. The viewers are incredibly excited about the NFL coaching carousel. And because it's only Wednesday, we'll talk more about Sunday's conference championship games Thursday, Friday, when Kevin the Medium joins us and Jim Barker joins us. And by the way, Jock Wilson will be joining us on Thursday in the guest spot. But I'm going to start with this. Because we're now on the air in Nevada tonight, the Las Vegas Raiders have been active in recent days, adding to their growing list of coaching candidates, interviewing former Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, and 49ers offensive coordinator Clay Kubiak. The Raiders met with McDaniel here in South Florida Monday, though ESPN's reported that McDaniel is expected to join the be the offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers. I believe they announced that this morning. Thank you, viewer Colt, for pointing that out. And let me stop for a second just on Mike McDaniel. Carlos, watching in Indiana, made the point that, and he's right, some guys make better coordinators than head coaches. I could give you a laundry list. Some guys make better assistant coaches than head coaches. It's the way that it is. Or the other way around. And when I first got here to Florida, 5 years ago, Brian Flores was the head coach, ended in a grease fire. Mike McDaniel gets hired, I think 2 days after the Super Bowl when it was in Las Vegas, or maybe when it was in L.A., whatever. It was right after Super Bowl 4 years ago. And his news conferences, Mike McDaniel was very confident, not just the introductory one, but I used to go to all the Dolphins games. I don't anymore for reasons we won't get into. But I would listen to his post-game news conferences, and win or lose, he sounded very confident, very in charge. And by the end, the news conferences were so bad, they were being picked up on the national media going, can you believe this guy? It was just the pressure of being an NFL head coach, especially here, but the time had clearly run out on Mike McDaniel. And I think, although I guess he interviewed with Cleveland too, LA will be a good fit for him, coaching Justin Herbert, and he seems more like an LA kind of guy. And I guess now would be a good time to tell you what our poll question is. It's for EMJ Marketing. Inspire and grow with EMJ Marketing's comprehensive speaker and business marketing services. Find out more at emjmarketing.com. What's the least desirable coaching vacancy in the NFL that's left? There are, if I have it right, 6 left. We narrowed it down to 3 and other, and the options are Arizona, Cleveland, Las Vegas, or other. And leading the poll is Cleveland, which probably shouldn't surprise anybody. Yeah, I guess, again, for the benefit of those that weren't watching an hour ago, I'll tell you who I voted for. I voted for Arizona because you have a quarterback who I just don't know that he even wants to be a quarterback. You know, he was a 2-sport stud coming out of, he was drafted in Major League Baseball, Kyler Murray. Maybe he should have stuck with baseball. Maybe that's more his thing. but they don't have a coach in Arizona. I don't think they have a general manager. Quarterback that's not that committed. It's Arizona for me, dog. Las Vegas, it's Vegas. Number one. Number two, it's the Raiders. You're going to have Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick, the best quarterback coming out of college football, the national champion. There's a lot to work with in Vegas. It's not Vegas is the least desirable. That's a good thing. There's a positive thing for you, for the Raiders fans that write in and say, don't worry about talking about the Raiders. Talk about the Golden Knights. Talk about a good team. And then Cleveland, well, yeah. Anyways, the Las Vegas ownership was already here in South Florida Monday night to attend the college football playoff title game between Indiana and Miami. Owner Mark Davis, general manager John Spytek, and minority owner Tom Brady were at Hard Rock Stadium before the game, presumably checking out Hoosiers quarterback Fernando Mendoza, whom the Raiders could take with the first overall pick. I'm reading from an Associated Press story that moved this morning, so I hope you find it entertaining. I do. Perhaps it's a little surprise, given the urgent need for a franchise quarterback, that 5 of Las Vegas's 6 most recent interviews have been with coaches on the offensive side of the ball. The day before interviewing McDaniel, the Raiders had discussions with Brady and Kubiak. So that's your NFL story 5 minutes into the hour here. Mike McDaniel off the table, going to L.A. Who will be the next head coach of the Vegas Raiders? Okay, I'm sorry. I should remind you, 902-518-3033. Was it this hour or last hour I was talking about Carson Beck not shaking hands, the quarterback for Miami Hurricanes, not shaking hands with Fernando Mendoza after the game? He's getting torched for that. Oh, my God. Maybe he's not the nicest guy. I don't know. But I said, nice guys run the Kinsman Club. It would be nice to have a nice guy, but there's a lot of ass kickers in sports that are not nice guys. So I wouldn't not draft Carson Beck because he didn't shake Fernando Mendoza's hand after the game. I'll tell you a story in a second. But I said, nice guys run the Kinsman Club. They don't run pro football teams. Tony from Cochrane writes in, and that's a quote from John Frenzy. It's not mine, but I love it. Tony says, I was one of the founding members of the Cochrane Kinsman Club about 30 years ago, and it didn't survive here. I'm not a nice guy. Just ask Rod and my wife. You're a very nice guy, Tony. It just takes you some time to get over things. It's okay. You're a great person. That's what I know. But anyways, I'll tell you a story about my dad. The other night, I just loved the chat with Al Tour, pro scout for the New York Rangers. His dad and my dad were best friends, and they're scouting legends. And I just remember back in the 90s, I used to watch everything my dad did, like all kids do. And he was writing up a scouting report for a player, ironically, with the Moose Jaw Warriors. And my dad put, great hockey sense, great shot. My dad is in the Hall of Fame of scouting because he didn't just go by what he saw. He would talk to the coaches. He would talk to the billets. He would talk to the bus driver. He would talk to the teachers. Great player. Everyone says he's an asshole. And then he put it in the fax machine. I saw him. Beep, 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 beep. Send it off to Dallas. Fax comes back. I don't want to say from who. Might have been Craig Button or Les Jackson. There's a lot of assholes in the NHL. Can he play? In the end, I don't think they ended up drafting him. But anyways, that's the point, because Carson Beck didn't shake hands at the end of the game. I don't think will hurt his draft stock. It might hurt the Vanderbilt quarterback for what he said after losing the Heisman. But anyways. I'll dip in here on the comments. Kirk writes in, 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Kirk says, hey, one thing about living in Toronto, you're within a 6-hour drive from 4 NFL cities, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Detroit. If you want to catch a live game, Toronto's a great town. Wayne's watching in Victoria. He writes in, he says, I do enjoy hockey as a game, but the NHL plays too many games in a season. Thus, I have a hard time keeping engaged in the middle of the season. Hey, I get it. These sports aren't for everybody. Try keep it on top of everything like I try to do. I will say this about football, because I do love it, and it does work perfectly for the media. You've got game day. You got 3 days after that to talk about the last game, and then 3 days to build up the next game. It works great. But I got a lot of friends that work in the NHL. Alan May comes to mind, Washington Capitals TV analyst and Caps alum, who doesn't care for football because he says not enough games. So, and then there's baseball. I swear to God, Greg's on, World Series champion with the Marlins. He's been on this show regularly. Long-time friend of mine, long-time Blue Jays analyst, as you know. I said, Zani, how do you get up for 162 games? He said to me, if you got to ask that, you don't belong anywhere near the ballpark. He's not wrong. And then I end up as a baseball broadcaster. How about that? U.S. audience, I need you to help me out here. Wayne in Victoria writes in, he says on the Western Dodge text line, hey, Rod, do Americans know what a Kinsman Club is? LOL. That's a really good question. I don't know. Hang on, Rob in Las Vegas. I just saw your comment. I don't know. They do have the Lions Club. It's just a couple of blocks from my house. I go there on occasion. I don't know if we have the Kinsman Club here or not. It's a really good question. Anyways, Rob in Las Vegas. I feel like you've written in this before, have you not? Rob says, trade rumors of Lamar Jackson to the Raiders. If it wasn't you, somebody wrote in about this a few weeks ago because I put it to Jim Barker. I think it was Jim or one of our football analysts. I said, would you do that trade? He said, yeah. You get a 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson. You know what you're getting. And they clearly think a lot of Lamar Jackson in Baltimore because they got rid of John Harbaugh, the head coach, not Lamar. Yeah, I don't think you're trading Lamar. There's this rumored, I think it's a rumor, rift between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But I feel like with the new head coach coming, in which we don't know, that's one of the vacancies, I couldn't see them getting rid of Lamar too. But, yeah, okay, Rob says, not me, Rod. Wasn't you that said that? Okay, well, somewhere it did. Thank you, Carlos, for the live audience, pointing out it's 1:11 Eastern. Please, Carlos, imagine a positive outcome. What do you got to lose? If you're going to overthink things, overthink positively, not overthink negatively. You're welcome. Anyways, whoever the pundit was, I want to say it was Barker. He's like, yeah, Lamar Jackson's proven. Fernando Mendoza, despite his heroics in this last season of college football, the winning the Heisman, isn't proven at the NFL level. Lamar is. They would make that trade. Oh, my God. Evidence piece number 797 of how this show is different from the others. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes, and he says, they know what a Klansman is, LOL. He's talking about the Ku Klux Klan. Here's one. I met a guy that owns a funeral home a few weeks ago at a Miami Hurricanes watch party. I said, hey, I'm not going to tell you his name. I said, what's the wildest funeral story you got for me? I bet you got some wild ones. He goes, oh, yeah. He's like 40 years ago. This guy was old. He goes, Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard. They wanted to have the funeral in my funeral home. And he goes, we did. He says, we had a meeting the night before, and everybody was dressed normally. They show up the next day, everybody's in their Klan outfits. He goes, had I known, I wouldn't have allowed him to do it. There's more to the story, but that was his story. Yeah, you meet some really interesting people, don't you? I don't even know what point we're on of the show topics here. I will tell you that our NFL picks weekly are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Pump Jack's Weyburn, Pump Jack's Cathedral. Kevin Carey is coming in next, and we'll make our conference final picks with him, or at least get his. Maybe I'll save mine until the weekend. We went through the conference championship game notes. I'm not going to go through them again. Not here. You had to be watching last hour for that. I will throw this out there for the hockey fans. I opened the hour saying we were going to talk about hockey, and then we didn't. But we will a lot next with Kevin, my oldest friend in this perilous trade. There are 6 games in the NHL tonight, including one in Toronto, where the Maple Leafs host Detroit. The Wings are 2 points back of the Atlantic Division leading Tampa Bay Lightning and 8 points ahead of the Leafs. Elsewhere, the Vancouver Canucks, winless in 11, host the Washington Capitals, while the Pittsburgh Penguins visit the Calgary Flames. I'm going to rip through these while we're sitting there. Point 3, Bo Bichette and the Mets finalized their $126 million 3-year contract last night. Bichette introduced at Citi Field today. They're moving him to third base. Point 4, Emmanuel Quickly had 40 points and 10 assists. Scotty Barnes had 26, and the visiting Toronto Raptors crushed the Golden State Warriors 145-127 in NBA play Tuesday night. Raps are at Sacramento tonight. Okay, if you've got NHL questions and comments for Kevin Karius, get him in now. 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line or the YouTube chat. The morning man from Edmonton Sports Radio 1440 joins us next. We are now across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and broadcasting across Canada and 33 U.S. states as we've added California here on the Game Plus television network, as well as podcast and WQVZ radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your daily reminder to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter. It's free. You can get it at rodpedersen.com, brought to you by Suds Regina. Hey, rookie Arseny Gratsuk and Cody Glass each had a goal and an assist, and New Jersey held on to beat the Edmonton Oilers 2-1 on Tuesday night. Kevin Karius, following the game, was probably there from Sports Radio 1440 Edmonton. Dickie, I'm sure it didn't go over well. What was your take of the Devils beating the Oilers last night? I had that pick wrong.
Oh, well, I think a lot of people did. I was at the game. The first 40 minutes were abysmal for the Oilers, didn't show up. They couldn't connect on a pass if their life depended on it. There were more fans on passes and shots. If they were passing to a player that didn't connect on the pass, that player, then he wasn't there. They came on hard in the last 20 minutes and had a lot of chances to tie this game or send it to overtime, but New Jersey's been really good, 17-0 now, 17-0 when leading after 40 minutes. And they were on a back-to-back. The Oilers couldn't get it done. And this was just another opportunity that has failed them to win 3 games in a row. They have not won 3 games in a row all season. It's a sort of a funny stat to see where they are in the standings. They've been getting the points. They win 2 out of 3, or they'll get an overtime point. They haven't won 3 in a row yet this year, Normie.
Well, okay. Well, I want to hear from the Oilers fans. 902-518-3033. We hear from them every day anyways. But you're there. You're at the games. I'm just saying, what are you talking about on your show? Because you're seeing the parity is at an all-time high. The games are closer than they've ever been. The Oilers aren't going to have – nobody's having a real dominant season other than Tampa Bay of late. Like, how – anxious are the fans with this hockey team right now?
I think they're just kind of playing the waiting game right now. And I think this is around the league too, Normie. I think everyone wants us to get to the Olympic break, reassess where they are. Yeah. A few teams have made some moves, made some adjustments here, like Rasmus Andersson, and Kiefer Sherwood moving in trades of recent days. But I think for the most part, a lot of these teams, Oilers included, want to see where they are moving into the break here. They're carrying 3 goalies right now, and they have to because Tristan Jarry, he's been on IR twice this year, and they can't afford to send a guy like Cal Pickard down just in case something happens. I'll tell you what, between right now Connor Ingram and Tristan Jarry, the Oilers are getting excellent goaltending and really, really good goaltending since the trade, and we're going to see Stu Skinner here tomorrow with Pittsburgh in town, so it'll be a reunion of sorts with back in town playing the Oilers with the Penguins.
Stop the presses. We'll come back on the goalie rotation in a second. Stuart Skinner's return. Skinner's return. What's the hype like in the City of Champions for that?
I don't think a lot, to be honest with you. I think it's one of those things where the Oilers have moved on already. It's crazy to say. It's only been, a month and a little bit here, but I think the Oilers fans were looking for a change. I think Stu Skinner, for the most part, was looking for a change. He was a big part of this team for 2 Stanley Cup runs. They can't get closer than what they did. And now they're hoping that Tristan Jarry can do that. And if Jarry can't do it, the way Connor Ingram has played, maybe he can do it.
Well, it's funny because I'm sure you've beaten that dog to death. You're probably tired of talking about Stuart Skinner. Listen to me, I get it. But when Martin Biron said that the Oilers skaters had given up on Stuart Skinner, remember that earlier this season? I said, maybe Stuart Skinner's given up on them. Like you say, it's good for change is good, can be good.
Well, I'm glad you remember that because that's what I told you the last time I was on.
You did not say that.
Did
you say that?
Yes,
okay, I know we were. Okay, continue. Tell me how right you were.
No, I did because I said that several times because the Oilers were playing so bad in front of their goaltending, no matter who it was, if it was Skinner or Cal Pickard. But it's a different dynamic. The confidence is it's a little higher with the players. I'll give Biron that. But the Oilers were not playing very well in front of either of their goalies prior to this trade and prior to Ingram getting called up. And Ingram has been sort of a breath of fresh air with this team. He's been really good. It's a great story. We're seeing him being quite interactive with fans, teammates. So I think there's a situation here where they're going to have a split. I think Jari could go again tomorrow, even though Chris Knobloch said last night that he's sort of not sure about kind of what kind of workload that he wants to give Jari moving forward in the immediate future, coming after he's just returned from the IR. So we'll see what happens. Either of them play goal tomorrow, Saturday against Washington. Anaheim's here as this long homestand continues. I think Oiler fans are quite confident with whomever is in goal right now.
Well, I'm glad that they're happy because Oiler fans are hard to appease. But I'll ask you this. You and the viewers were saying how bad the Oilers were last night. So how's that any different than when Skinner was there?
Don't know. I mean, it was, you think after they played two really piss poor teams on the weekend, shutouts both games. Vancouver 6-0, St. Louis 5-0. Those are probably two of the worst teams that I've seen play this year. But New Jersey was on a back-to-back. They were 3-4. The Oilers were 3-4. But New Jersey came out hard last night. The Oilers weren't prepared to play at the start. That's concerning to me. They've got an opportunity here with a lot of home games to string some wins together. They're not going to get close to Vegas for first overall in the Pacific Division if they keep doing this 2 out of 3 BS. They got to go on a bit of a run here. I mean, Leon Draisaitl hasn't been here for 3 games now. He's back in Germany attending to a family matter. They definitely miss him, especially on the power play, although they haven't had a lot of power play opportunities. I think there's a good chance that we might see Leon by the weekend, Saturday against Washington.
Kevin Karius here from Sports 1440 Edmonton. Just the last one on the goalies. I could talk about it forever, as you know. So Calvin Pickard is the third, like he'll be the odd man out by the time they decide?
Okay, right now, this is the best thing that they can do. It's not the end of the world to have 3 goalies around the rink at practice, etc., up until the Olympic break. So you're going to technically have a good month and a half here before it's all said and done when you have to make a call on what you're going to do. They have to make sure that Tristan Jarry's healthy. He's been on the IR twice. Connor Ingram, we know his story. He's got to get, more importantly, to be 100% where his headspace is. Great interview Gene Principe did with Connor Ingram and his dad Brent when the father's trip happened and the Oilers won those 2 games in Nashville and Chicago. Well, they didn't win both, but they got the overtime point. I mean, the support that Brent, the dad, they're from Imperial, Saskatchewan, given Connor Ingram, and to see him back, I mean, you're seeing it right now in Ottawa, a similar situation with a goaltender. But he's got to make sure his head space is there. That's why they can't afford to send Cal Pickard down. If he gets taken off waivers by another team and picked up, that's a bad news and a bad move for the Oilers. They need depth right now. They can figure this out with a 3-goalie system after the Olympic break.
Of course. Hey, it's all between the years, especially at that position. We speak our own language. So I'm pulling for Connor Ingram. We all know that he's got the talent, right? I hope that it is a great story. We're all pulling for him. How can you not from Imperial, Saskatchewan?
I mean, you were the wackiest goaltender to come out of Saskatchewan. Like, certifiable.
It's a long list. You know, 3 most famous guys from Imperial. Chris Knobloch, Connor Ingram, Bob Krawchuk.
He wasn't from Imperial, was he?
Oh, I thought he was. We'll have to look that up. I thought he was. Okay. Artemi Panarin's going somewhere. Where do you think it'll be?
Where do I think it'll be? Florida or Minnesota, although Florida has problems navigating things, especially with Barkov sniffing around, maybe like he might come back. The whole thing here, the biggest thing that's going to happen this year, we're not going to see as much movement, Rod. There's no way because of the teams having to be cap compliant in the playoffs. Maybe there's some team that can bring them in where and there could be up to 50% salary retention, no more. Panarin's what, at 11.5, 11.6? Maybe the Rangers eat some of that and it's kind of gets sweetened, a deal. But teams have to be careful here. They can't just pick up players like they have in the past because They can't be, if they're not cap compliant once the playoffs get around, the guy's not even in the lineup then. So you got to be careful here.
Sure. Well, he's going somewhere. And, my people are saying Vegas because they get everybody that they want. I still don't know how they do. But, looks like Vancouver has had their flea market. Quinn Hughes gone, Kiefer Sherwood gone, whoever else will be gone. How much have you watched Vancouver this year? Yeah, well, Elias, I wouldn't be trading.
Vancouver a lot. Pedersen, everyone thinks he's going to be gone. I don't want the contract if I'm people. If I'm a team, I don't want $11.5 million up until 2032 or whatever it is. Don't want it.
Well, what are you seeing out of that team?
Nothing. They're lifeless. They have zero direction. They have the coaching decisions that happen when they make a trade and they pick up a guy like Z Boom and then healthy scratch him. I don't understand a lot of that. Quinn Hughes, obviously that trade was the signal to the end of their year. Sherwood was more of a heart and soul guy with the hits. He's going to cash in. Pedersen, some people think that he's playing well. Well, as opposed to what? He's not even a point-a-game guy here moving forward. Like, what are they? Besser can't score. I mean, he's emotional. They have nothing left out there. They're in a rebuild. And just think about this. Think about this for a second. Vegas isn't going anywhere. The Oilers aren't going anywhere. San Jose is going somewhere. They're way better than Vancouver right now. Anaheim is way better than Vancouver right now and will be for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Vancouver could miss the playoffs for a decade here. That's how bad it is, unless they figure out what they're going to do and tear it down and build it up properly from what they have. And again, even just little things like Bo Horvat. A lot of this, to me, in Vancouver started before, the Pedersen and Miller thing. It was with Horvat. That's the guy you want to build around. Those are the guys that make you a championship team.
Hey, who was your coach with the Mills?
Sonny Familak was there for my first year. And then Mike Polonich was there for year number 2. He was the brother of Dennis Polonich, longtime Detroit Red Wing and a real tough guy. Mike was tough too. And then the last 2 years, John Mignot was his name. And he came in, and actually he played a lot in the WHA, played in Philadelphia, he played for Vancouver, I think. He also went to Montreal Canadiens camp. And John was from Kimberley, BC, and his whole life he was called Mignault. That's how it was spelt, Mignault, and he was a BC guy, worked in the mine in Kimberley, went to Montreal Canadiens camp, and Claude Ruel was the coach, and they said, Mignot, get over there. It's the first time he ever heard his name pronounced in French, Norby.
I love that story. Well, I have a point why I asked, but you'll get a kick out of this because you and I never talk except on the air. So yeah. Bill Lindsay says to me a couple of weeks ago, he goes, who'd you grow up? He goes, who was your team? And I said, I live here, the Panthers, I guess. He goes, no, nobody grew up cheering for the Panthers. Like, who was your team? Because he's from Fernie. And I said, the Oilers. The Oilers. And he's like, well, anybody of our age, we are all Oiler fans growing up, right? For, whatever. But the reason I ask it with the Mills thing is you've seen coaches and GMs come and go. That's my point. As a player and now in the media, are you as fascinated as I am with the Sabres just going, what the hell? What the hell? You fire one guy, and then all of a sudden they're the 85 Oilers.
It's crazy to think where they are and from where they were. And if they can continue this, and again, I just had a good chat with a guy out of WGR 550, Mike Schopp in Buffalo. We were talking about the Bills for the most part, but he's obviously, well connected and has been covering the Buffalo Sabres. He thinks this is one of the best stories that he's seen in the hockey ranks, even going back before, just because of where the team was this year. And again, for 14 years and not making the playoffs and trading all these guys away that go on to win Stanley Cups, like the Reinhardts and Eichels and O'Reillys and all these guys. I think, as he said, there's a new wave of optimism right now in Buffalo. They just got to keep it going. They got to keep it going. I mean, that's the one team that I am pulling for out east to see them make the playoffs. And as you know, at the start of the year, and your Florida listeners are going to love this, I told you at the start of the year.
Yes, you did.
The Florida Panthers would not make the playoffs this year.
Still a half a season to go, Dickie. Don't be doing a victory lap yet. Don't be pulling a Leon Lett and celebrating at the 1 yard line. We're at midfield still.
At least I'm not pulling a Doug Lett.
Dumb Doug. Yeah, exactly. Hey, well, listen. Oh, now I could go on for a lot longer with you, but at least in Buffalo, they're not trashing Kevin Adams anymore. They're trashing Sean McDermott today. See the Bills owner saying that the draft selections weren't the GMs, they were McDermott, just trashing a guy on his way out of town. It's the way that it goes.
And also Keon Coleman, right? He's trashing Keon Coleman. So if you're a player, why do you want to go there? Like, just sometimes owners get so far out of their lane that they don't know how much damage they are creating and causing. Terry Pagula this morning is a prime example.
Well, and then Bisciotti over in Baltimore had his news conference last week, the Ravens owner. Hey, put a mic in front of all these guys. I'd love to see the idiotic things that they say. It's
well, you know what? You know what's funny is I'm just watching. I'm on episode 7 of America's Team, the Dallas Cowboys. Isn't it great?
No, I know it all. I'm a Cowboys fan. I didn't need to watch it. I had a front row. I've had a front row seat.
No, you got to watch it. You have to watch it.
I have seen it. No. I've seen it. It just pissed me off more. I'm a Cowboys fan. I knew all this stuff.
Wow.
What did you like? What did you like about it?
Well, I like the beginning stuff, all the oil business and the stuff behind the scenes. Right now, I'm just into the Michael Irvin, and basically that's the beginning of the downfall of that organization. And I just, again, when you think about it, with Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones, had they been able to form some kind of a partnership, of a relationship, I just wonder how many more Super Bowls they would have won.
We all think that as Cowboys fans. But, hey, Chris Jones, Ed Hervey, they could have won 8 in a row. They couldn't be in the same room together. You know, or even Gretzky. You saw a King's ransom. How many Stanley Cups could you guys have won? What did he say? 7, 8?
No, I think he said 2 or 3 more, because he said they had 4.
Said?
He said 2 or 3 more. Yeah, 2 or 3.
They still think about that up in Edmonton, right?
Wow, for sure. They're just hoping to get one more here, Norm.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we have less than a minute. Your Super Bowl picks. You got about 45 seconds. Super Bowl, who's it going to be?
Well, I'm going to, just because of the Bo Nix thing, so, I'll take New England in that game. And then I'm going to take the LA Rams to go into Seattle and win that game. And then I'll take the Rams to win the Super Bowl.
Isn't that something? Do you remember who your preseason pick was for the Super Bowl?
I do not. Did I say one?
No, probably not, but I did. Detroit and Buffalo. I got the balls to make predictions. I'm usually wrong, but I don't care. Yeah, and that went out the window. So anyway, nobody had the Rams and the Patriots, I can tell you that, except people in Boston and L.A. All right, Dickie, thank you. Go have a nap.
Okay, take care, you old cone snail.
The great Kevin Karius from Sports 1440, my oldest friend in the perilous broadcasting trade. I'm not sure he would agree with that, but that's what I think. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover on the Silver State.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. There is a lot to get to today. That's great for a guy like me. But I'm going to tell you, for the NHL fans, if you can't get enough hockey talk, we've got our live viewers right now on Game Plus Television. Tune in at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, our Cats and Bolts podcast. You can find the links from all my social media. We'll be having the goalie fight episode with my guy Brent, my co-host. We'll be talking about Sergei Bobrovsky's fight the other night with San Jose's Alex Nedeljkovic. Lightning, Panthers, that's what we talk about. Florida's most watched hockey show, brought to you by iTix now down here in the Sunshine State. Live streaming at 3:30. From the audience... Okay. And for the Vegas viewers, too, I'd love to hear this. Rob in Las Vegas watching, he writes in about this Lamar Jackson to the Raiders trade for the number 1 overall pick. Would you make that deal? The rumor's been out there for a while. I want to sit back and think about this a little bit because Fernando Mendoza is the sexy thing on the market. Didn't you say, Rob, they're already singing Fernando in Las Vegas, on the streets of Las Vegas? Tony from Cochrane writes in. He says, the Raptors are now tied for 3rd in the East, and that's all with a few of their normal starters still hurt. Darko for Coach of the Year. I'll follow the NBA come playoff time. How about that? Buster, sports update. Buster Posey is expected to be the top newcomer on baseball's 2027 Hall of Fame ballot. There are no first ballot inductees this year after the results were announced Tuesday night. Holdover candidates Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones were the only ones voted in. Beltran and Jones were the top returning vote getters from 2025, so it wasn't a shock when they received the necessary 75% approval from members of the Baseball Writers Association of America. Next year, Posey has a chance to make the Hall on his first try. The star catcher helped the Giants in San Francisco to 3 World Series titles. 6 games in the NHL tonight, including one in Toronto, where the Maple Leafs host the Detroit Red Wings. The Wings are 2 points back of the Atlantic Division, leading Tampa Bay Lightning and 8 points ahead of the Leafs. Elsewhere, the Vancouver Canucks, winless in 11, host the Washington Capitals, while the Pittsburgh Penguins visit the Calgary Flames. We do have a poll running on our Instagram at the Rod Pedersen Show. What's the game of the night in the NHL? And winning the poll is Leafs Wings. Any original 6 matchup's going to win a poll like that. There are 7 games in the NBA tonight, including one in Sacramento, California, where we're now airing on Game Plus TV. How about that? Where the Kings host the Toronto Raptors, the aforementioned Tony's Toronto Raptors. The Kings, losers of 2 straight, are 14th in the West. The Raptors are 4th in the East with a 29-19 record. We learned today former NFL sideline reporter Michelle Tafoya has launched her campaign for the U.S. Senate. She hopes to win the Republican nomination for the Minnesota seat being vacated by retiring Democratic Senator Tina Smith. Tafoya announced her candidacy today in a video posted on social media. She emphasized her knowledge of leadership from her years covering football. Tafoya has been active in Minnesota Republican politics and is best known for her work as a sideline reporter for NBC's Sunday Night Football. Other Republicans in the race include former NBA player Royce White, military veterans Adam Schwartz and Tom Weiler, and former Minnesota GOP chair David Hann. Sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Dress like a fan, not a spectator. Ultimate Fan Zone Sports, Ultimate Fan Zone Moose Jaw has everything you need: jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more. Start shopping now at ultimatefanzone.ca. I will say this. I'm glad the political parties have finally stopped asking me to run. Finally, the third time, was one party came back twice, one only came once. But I said, don't ask again. Why do you even want me to run? The politics is the last thing I want to do. And they said, you have the trust of the people. I said, yes, I do. I worked real hard to get it. And I'm not interested in losing it. So thanks. Stop calling. And frankly, that was quite some time ago. I can't see my opinion changing unless I needed a job one day, I guess. But even then, that wouldn't be the right reason to get into politics, I don't think. 902-518-3033 is the text line. I'd love to hear from you in our final segment coming up next, the overtime segment for Overtime Sports Lanes. We are broadcasting live across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and of course Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Well, hi. How about that? Thank God I was staring in the camera. It is Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Listen, you're watching this show, you're in Southern Alberta, and you're a hockey fan. That is a lot of you. Have you checked out Overtime Hockey Lanes yet? It's just, what did I used to say? A snapshot away from the old Crossroads flea market. Because it is. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. With state-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment, it's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. Whether you're prepping for the big game, just want to have fun, maybe throw a potty, Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. Check them out at overtimehl.ca. They have a licensed bar for the parents, too, don't you know? Putting a wrap on a fun program today. What I tell you, it's for me, it's been a nice escape for 2 hours of reality. Because there's a lot of political talk out there, and very little of it is fun. Producer Corey telling me that I made the right decision not going into politics. That was an easy one. There was no part of me that wanted to do that. Nope. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, "Hey, Rod, is there a story," writes it on the Western Dodge text line, "why Kevin calls you Normie?" Yeah, that goes back to second day of broadcasting school. Cheers was the number one show on television at the time. Norm Pedersen. The end. It stuck amongst the broadcasting diploma program of Mount Royal University, 1990-91 vintage. Norm Pedersen. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, "Hi, Rod. Kevin Karius is another gem. I enjoy listening to him every time he's on the RP show. He's all right. I'm just glad to get him. He's a real big deal up there in Edmonton, you know, Edmonton Sports Radio, 1440 AM. Great job they've done with that channel. Some of the notes I had down was, what's the game of the night in the NHL? It's on our Instagram page, a poll there on the story, at The Rod Pedersen Show. You can vote now. Running away with that is Detroit at Toronto. I apologize, Jeremy in Winnipeg, the biggest Red Wings fan that I know. I don't have the Wings in my top five, bottom five. It's a very prestigious group to get into. As I said, just because if you had one half of a hot season, no, not yet. Just like when I asked Joe Girardi at LA Fitness, where we both belong, he's my gym buddy, Joe Girardi. I said, is Shohei Ohtani the greatest major leaguer ever? Not yet. And I feel like in the World Series, he didn't ball out. Joe Girardi, the 4-time World Series champion, said, still got to go with the babe. Anyways, NHL breakaway bets tonight. Detroit at Toronto. Let's get serious. I'm not anti-Detroit. I'm not, but I'm going to go with the Leafs to win. Still smarting after the loss to the Wild the other night. Hey, sneaky good game, Anaheim at Colorado tonight. I definitely think Colorado will win. I think they're still ticked at losing to the Leafs at home the other night, snapping their 17-game home win streak. Philadelphia at Utah. I was thinking about that. Rick Tocchet coached the Vancouver Canucks to first place in the Pacific Division. How many years ago? 3 years ago? Should have won Coach of the Year for that. Maybe he did. Can't remember. Anyways, he's got the Flyers 4 points out of a playoff spot. They're at Utah tonight, and I'm going with Philly. Everybody loves Rick Tocchet. Pittsburgh at Calgary, as Jeff the Stamps fan has written in. He says, the second to last time the storied Pittsburgh Penguins will play in the Olympic Saddle Dome. Probably the last time Sid. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Who will win? Pittsburgh, they just don't seem to lose. I'm going to take the Penguins. Won in Seattle the other night. I didn't see that coming. New York Islanders at Seattle. I'm a Patrick Waugh backer. You all know that. I'll take the Islanders to win on the road. I tell you what, home and road, has anybody done the studies on that? It doesn't seem to be that big of a difference anymore in terms of it's not that hard to win on the road anymore compared to how it used to be. Not to mention the back-to-back night thing. That's the other thing. The Devils go in and beat the Oilers last night in their second game in 2 nights. Made it look easy from what I understand. I didn't watch the game. What's the analytics on that? I'm just not a propeller head guy, but I see what's happening. Not as hard to win on the road anymore, and not as hard to win on back-to-back nights. What's up with that? And Washington at Vancouver. I mean, the Canucks have become the free spot in the bingo card, definitely taking the Capitals, who are in a hell of a fight in the Metropolitan Division. You know, for the BC viewers, of which we have many, just not talking a lot of Canucks here. You're welcome. Oh, great. Tony from Cochrane says, Cody Bellinger off the table for the Blue Jays. Re-signed with the Yankees 5 years, $162.5 million. Tony, and anybody else, can you help me? Why are the Blue Jays not making their bullpen a priority in free agency? Nobody wants to say it, but that's what cost them the World Series. We all know that. And I don't know, maybe they're trying, but I don't see it. I think we would all agree. Yeah. Like I know more than Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, right? Or for that matter, John. I don't know. I'm just a fan sitting here yakking it up on the old yak box every day. But I want to thank the California viewers now that are chiming in, and all these NHL people that are making themselves known as daily viewers of the RP show. Welcome. You're at home here. Tomorrow, Kevin the Medium and Jock Wilson. It's going to be big fun. And don't forget, live 3:30 Eastern, streaming on YouTube, the Cats and Bolts podcast, the Goalie Fight Edition. It's going to be fun. Thanks today to Kevin Karius and you, the co-hosts, for riding shotgun with me. We'll do it all again tomorrow across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus, podcast, and WQVZ. Bye.
That.